Hello.
Hey everybody. We're just going to be starting in a couple of minutes. We're giving a couple more minutes for everybody to join in, but Henry and I are here just hanging out, waiting for people to get gathered and settled.
Yeah. And I'm always nervous when I go live. And so if everybody's here, you can drop in the chat, just say hello so that you can hear, can you hear us okay? Can you see us
Yeah.
okay? Any sound, image
We'd love to know
quality?
where you're from. Somebody already said Germany here. That's amazing.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
where's everybody tuning
What
in from?
what time is it in Germany and France? And what time is it where you guys are at right now?
Ooh, North
Oh
Dakota,
my gosh.
2300. Hawaii, California. Oh my God. Seattle, everywhere. It's amazing. South
Seattle
Africa,
represent.
Italy,
Wow,
Denver. Oh
11
my gosh.
p.m. Oh my goodness. I hope that our
I
voices are, like that ASMR for your 11 o'clock at night so that we don't we don't wake people up to
We'll just keep
accidentally.
this really smooth and calm. It's so diverse. Texas, Maui, Arizona, Canada, Switzerland. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Tom, this will be recorded. Yeah, for everyone that's listening, this will be recorded. It'll come out later. It won't be today, but it will be recorded and sent out to everyone. Somebody said I need to set my mic louder.
Mm.
Maybe I'll just bring it a little closer. Or maybe I just wasn't talking very loud because I was like
I like
just
how
trying to
you're
get into it and
kind of
not
like
yell at everyone.
whispering into it too.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to get a little ASMR, but how do I sound? How's that, everybody? Does that sound a little bit better? Henry's the main one we really want to hear from. That's better. Cool. Amazing. Well, cool. I think we're at 9:05 here. Henry, do you feel pretty good to start?
Yeah, I'm ready whenever you everybody is.
Okay, that's amazing. We're here with Henry today. He's an incredible destination and elopement wedding photographer based out of Seattle, Washington. And he's going to walk us through the process of becoming an international wedding photographer and building your business all around the world. Henry, I'm going to let you take it from there.
All right, thank you so much, Kyle. All right, hello everybody. Just quick, I always feel like this every time I go on like a live workshop, talking to everybody here. It's different from teaching in a live setting like this versus like an in person because I cannot see your faces or hear your thoughts. So I'll go over the entire thing. I'll try to be as thorough. As much as I can. If you have questions about anything that I say, you can share it in the chat or you can write in your note because then at the end, we're trying to answer as many questions as possible for everybody. And so, yeah, today I'm going to share with you on how I became an international destination wedding and elopement photographer. And in this presentation, I'm going to use the word international and destination very interchangeably because to a lot of us here as well just become that traveling, that getting to somewhere new rather than our hometown or a local venue, that could be something that totally brand new for you and you might need some knowledge on that. And so that's the reason why this workshop today is not only on international but also on destination that could be within your country. So a little bit intro before photography business. I use Instagram just like everyone else. I scroll for inspirations to learn new places, just to learn to see new things. And then I would stumble upon amazing work by photographers like Jordan Voth, Annie Graham. They just honestly, those guys, they travel everywhere. I was so inspired by the amazing landscapes and also like the way that they photograph, of course. But my first thought, wow, these places are wild. But then my second thought would be, hey, that's so cool, but how the heck do these photographers get to travel for work? Like how does it work? So fast forward to today. I'm currently in my sixth year of being a photographer, and I've had the honor of photographing wedding and elopements in places like the Philippines, Banff, Canada, Japan, Iceland, Scotland, Positano, Honduras, Mexico, Costa Rica. And upcoming, I'm very excited because I'm teaching with narrative today. But next year, I'm going to be able to go visit and photograph in New Zealand for the first time. So I'm super excited for that. So in today's presentation, I am going to share with you how I've become a destination wedding and elopement photographer and how you can be one as well. A quick disclaimer, just so that we're all the same page. I am a photographer. I am not a lawyer. And I am not an accountant. So the topics and the information that I share with you today are coming from experience, come from research. However, I cannot give you legal or financial advice. Hopefully with some of the topics that I share here, it will help you understand how to do your own research a little bit better, or how to find the right and legal support that you need. And so real quick, hello again, my name is Henry, and I am an intimate wedding and elopement photographer based out of Seattle, Washington. That's me. This over here is my husband and I and our fur babies. We had 3 when in the beginning, and then right here is now we have 4. This photo right here is with me and my partner Sergio. He's a photographer that works with me as well for my company. We photograph mostly on the West Coast USA, Washington State, Oregon, California. But we also travel to Hawaii, Alaska, international locations that I've shared before. And between the two of us, we photograph around 75 to 90 weddings and elopements a year. And so just from January of this year until now, I've been privileged enough to be able to travel and photograph in Costa Rica, Philippines, Hawaii, and Italy. And next month, I'm super excited that I get to go to Iceland and the Dolomites and Norway for the first time. So I'm very, very excited. Before all of this, my background was actually in cardiac ICU nursing. I worked in the ICU where I help and really sick patients with heart disease and all that. And so it got dark. It got to the point where I just needed to get out and just to see landscape, see nature, see something rather than just the hospital setting. And so in 2017, the summer that year, I picked up the camera for the first time. I went hiking, I took photos of landscape, got home, got super frustrated. Looking at these colors, I'm like, why is it that the colors are like this? I wish I could change it. I wish these colors could look better somehow. And so that's when I started learning. I started learning Lightroom, photograph in RAW. And then that's was summer 2017. In January of 2018, I photographed my very first elopement, and I fall in love with intimate wedding, intimate elopement. And then August of 2018, which is about a year into my photography career, I photographed my very first destination international elopement in Whistler, Canada. It didn't feel real. It didn't feel like I was doing something so different, so international. Just because this is so biased, just because I'm in Seattle and Canada, just 3 hours drive away. And Whistler, it's another like 5 hours or so. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna pause and just check in because I saw some notes about people cannot hear. If you can hear, can you enter in the chat, like just so that I can hear, like that we know that on my end it's okay. Okay. So some people cannot hear, and I saw in the chat that you might want to use the Riverside app or use Google Chrome, and then hopefully at the we do save the whole entire presentation, and Kyle with narrative team will upload it at a later time as well. So I really hope that works. So thank you again everybody for helping me out and letting me know that the audio does work okay. So I'm gonna go back now, and like I said, it didn't really feel like I was photographing internationally because Canada just right next door to Seattle. And the whole time I was there, it felt like I was just working in the States. And not until another year goes by, in August 2019, I photographed in Positano, Italy for the first time. And something about different culture, different language, and all that just make it feel like, oh my gosh, I'm actually doing something like this. And so today I want to share with you about how the process of how all that happened. In today's presentation, there's some big main topic that we're going to go over. Why should someone hire you for their destination wedding and elopements? 2, we're going to talk about how to market yourself as one. 3, we're going to talk about how to price yourself. And then the 4th thought would be on sustainability and things for you to really consider when you travel, when you become a destination wedding and elopement photographer. And so why should someone hire you, like specifically you, for their weddings and elopement? So when it comes to photography, there's no shortage on photographers. Wherever you are right now, whether you live in a small town or a larger metropolitan area, you probably at some point have felt or said things like, this market is so saturated, there's so many photographers around. Now, to think about popular locations such as Positano and Tuscany, and places that people dream of going to for their own wedding, you can see that there are many other photographers who probably have a strong portfolio of photographing there, as well as local photographers who actually live and work right there, that they can be at those weddings at easier than you have to travel there. So the question now become, why me? Why would someone bring me all the way here? So in order to answer that, you have to go back to the foundation of marketing and wedding photography, because the answer lies in why would someone book you, period. Like this, why would someone book me? Doesn't matter the destination, the venue, the location. Why would someone book you? And when you think about it, marketing is all about sharing who you are and what you can do in order to build trust, and so that couples, clients can see that you have the solutions to their issues, to their struggles, to something that they're looking for. And when it comes to destination work, there might be more elements to that trust than just, hey, I have beautiful photos and I photographed here before. So here are some of the elements that I have found that couple really look for when they ask the question, why would someone hire you for the destination? And each of the bullet point here, we'll go through each one of them together, but just an overall, of course, we're going to talk about quality of work, your experience with the location, your experience, expertise with photographing in similar landscapes, your knowledge on law and permit, your experience with travel, and then last but not least, the connection, the relationship that you can get from building a relationship with your clients. So first thing first, we're gonna go ahead and cover the quality of photo part. That's the first and foremost important thing. It's one of the most important aspects of why you over the next photographer next door. And in terms of quality of photos, this isn't about presets or camera bodies or should I go Nikon, a Canon, a Sony. It's none of that, because to a normal non-photographer client, those cameras are almost equally the same in their eye. As long as you can deliver high resolution images that the photos look good. This look good might be different from us photographers looking at images. Normal couple, when they see an image, they don't understand why. They might not understand why it's a good image, but they know that that image draw their attention and they just feel such connection to your image. And so don't worry about the technical stuff of gears, a preset. Should I be a light and airy photographer, or should I be a dark and moody photographer? I don't think you should change yourself in order to attract destination couples. because the way that you photograph and edit is like your DNA. It is an extension of you. And so you don't want to change who you are and just so that you can get these weddings, because then long term, it might come back and make us regret a certain decision that we make in our life and business. So I think, stay true to the way that you edit, stay true to the way that you photograph. However, there are some important aspects when I think about quality of photos that a normal couple might want to look into when they book a destination photographer. They want to see consistency, diversity, storytelling, and I'll go through each one of them. For consistency, this assures expectations. When clients see your portfolio, they need to be able to see that if they book you, they can expect their photos to look like what's in your portfolio. Because when you think about even local work, that you photograph weddings at venue A versus venue B in your hometown, there could be a new venue C that you haven't photographed at before, but just by looking at your 2 other venue and 2 other galleries, your clients should be able to expect that the same results, that they might expect the same result that they can get from you for their own photo. And so that's what I meant by consistency. For diversity, this isn't about racial diversity. This isn't about, you need to have people. I mean, it's really nice if you can to show the diversity and racial diversity and body, the way people look, tall, short, on a bigger side, on a smaller side, just so that you can show clients that you photograph all kind of love. That's really always nice. But the diversity that I want to share here is the diversity in photos. So in a gallery of 500 photos, can your clients expect different crops, angles, wide versus close, portraits versus details, pose versus candid, emotion or motion? So including that in your portfolio, in the gallery that you send to your potential client, that can really help build that trust that, hey, he or she or they know what they're doing and what they can deliver when we book them. And so the last part in quality of photo that I want to share is in the storytelling aspect of your photography. You don't have to niche down to identify as a storyteller or a photojournalist kind of photographer on your website and your marketing material. However, wedding photography is a bit different from other forms of photography. When you think about it, as a wedding photographer, you need to know so many different kind of photography. You need to do editorial, fashion, documentary, food. Like you take photos of things when they stay still, of details, of people running around, of candid. You do so much more than any other kind of photographers out there that I can think about. But wedding photography also document the day and tell the story of what happened in a way that none other kind of photography, I feel like, cover what we do. And so especially for a destination location, for a place that, for this couple, for example, maybe they have never even been there themselves. This is going to be their first time visiting Italy and have their wedding in Italy. The photos, the portrait photos are nice that they can print out huge and hang on their walls. But at the same time, if they flip pages within their wedding album and they can relive the moments that you photographed to tell them, here are something that you experience on this day, the landscape that you see from your eye. So it's not just the portraits, but the whole storytelling of the day. So when clients view your example gallery that you send them for that initial phone call, it's really nice for them to be able to see that you can document it all, that the photos are not just pretty, but also have souls. And so that's what I meant in a quality photo. So to move on to the next point of why someone would book you is people might book you for their destination wedding because of your experience with the location. So this is very true for a lot of local photographers, that if you've noticed that you photograph at this national park before, or if you photograph at this really popular venue in your hometown, and you can show those locations to your new clients, when they look at it, they see right away. They don't have to guess that, hey, can this photographer photograph it? They see it. Like, you have the experience of photographing here. So it's much easier for you to book those clients because of your knowledge, that they get to really understand the whole, like, from booking you to getting photos, what the process might be like. So this is true for destination work. Like, if you photograph at a destination that you haven't, that your other photographers in your hometown hasn't photographed, it's easier for you to market that way. But what if you haven't photographed at that dream location that you want to be just yet? What if you don't have any photos to showcase your experience with that location at all? And so that brings me to the next bullet point, which is, it's okay. It's entirely okay that you haven't been to somewhere in order to market for that, because then you can market yourself in a different way. You can show your experience and your expertise with photographing in similar landscapes. What do I mean by that is that, for example, I live here in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle, Washington. Washington is known for the moody landscape, the rain, the fog. We have mountains. We don't really have that lush green and vibrant blue that you might see in Hawaii. And so for me to really show potential clients that if you do take me somewhere tropical, I do have the knowledge to photograph there. I do have the style that I can edit these greens and these blues in a way that doesn't diminish the beauty of the location that you're going to. And so for you, for example, if you live somewhere, maybe Lac Mountain, there's what's the landscape around you could be maybe a little bit flatter. So to really advertise yourself that, hey, I know what it's take to really photograph in the mountain landscape. I understand cloud. I understand shadow and shade from mountains and trees. You really need to show that you have some sort of experience that the photos can turn out okay. And so, one second, sorry, I lost my little mouse thing here. And so this is where personal projects and style shoot can really help your portfolio. And for style shoot, I want to share a quick personal story of how I got here with this. So I photographed, my first year photographing, I really realized that, oh my goodness, it rains so much in Washington, and it can rain anytime. We could plan for a wedding in the middle of August, and it's the hottest month. Sometimes we have wildfires up here, but at the same time, it can rain, and we don't know that. And so for me to really show a couple that I can photograph, like I have what it takes to photograph in the rain, I wanted to set up a rainy photo shoot. To have the practice, just so I can learn, even just so I have something in the back of my portfolio that I can, if it rains, I know what to do and how to prepare myself and how to prepare the clients. And so I set up this style shoot, and the left side here is a mood board, which is what I sort of found photos on Pinterest, Instagram, what my vision was going to be like. And then on the right side here are actually the photos that I photograph and that I use to show clients that I have the experience, I have the expertise with photographing in this element, in this weather. And so There's other way that you can build a portfolio for you as well. If you want to set up a style shoot at home where you live, where you can just get practice around, or whenever you travel, when you travel for personal trips, you can also set up style shoot at places that you're new to so you can practice. For example, if you live in Oklahoma or Texas or in Europe and you want to travel to Colorado where you see mountain, this could be a fun trip for yourself. But you can also do a quick photo shoot. It doesn't need to be always so collaborative. So to involve different vendors, like getting cake and flowers, because the point here is to show your familiarity with travel and landscape. And so here are some other ways that I did set up personal work when I travel. The left photo that you see here, this is a photo of my good friend. He's a photographer and a tattoo artist. His name is Chewy. His Instagram is The Art of Chewy. The first time we connected on the internet, he lives in near Joshua Tree National Park in California. That was my first time ever going to Joshua Tree just for a personal trip. So I reached out and I asked him and his wife if they are interested in doing a fun mini shoot. It's really helped me understand how to work in the desert landscape because the sun there is so different from the sun in the state of Washington where I live. And so that's why I set up a quick personal style shoot, and I got desert content out of it. The right hand side here is actually a photo of myself and my husband when we traveled to Kauai for my birthday. We were just gonna go for a week, and the time that we were there, I realized that this is totally different from everything I photographed before. The color was different, the way it can rain anytime, but it can be sunny. I also love the landscape of Kauai that I just want to take photos, and I didn't have models with me or anything. And so I set up tripods and just take photos of myself. And so for yourself, if you're in a relationship or if you're single, you can still do some personal photograph. You could buy something inexpensive, a long white dress, and you can pack with you when you travel. If you're a female photographer and you're single, you don't always have to get someone to be in the photo with you. It could be you standing further away. Take a photo of yourself and you're just facing the view. What you're trying to showcase here is I have been here. I have been to a similar landscape, and that to show people that I know how to do this. And so it's nice if you could get like a full-blown style shoot, like from documentary of getting ready and first look and adventure photos, sunset golden portraits, but then at the same time you get what you can. Don't let that to be one of those things where, oh, I cannot get like a full gallery, so I'm just not gonna do it. Get something, anything at all, because even if you cannot use that photos to showcase to people that you have been there or you can do it, it's actually a really nice way to practice for yourself, because we might have some idea of what things might look like, but until we do it, we don't really know like what the experience was gonna be like. And just one last example that I want to show you about style shoot versus like real. Same trip to Kauai. I connected with this couple that we just connected on Instagram, and I asked them if they want to just take some photos for fun. So I took their photos. This is back in 2000, gotta be 18 or 19, one of those. And this happened in April. From the photos, this exact same location, I was able to share with my clients that how things can look like when you get there. And I brought a real couple to Hawaii for that exact spot. My style has changed a little bit over the years, and the color of the lights and the color looks a little bit different, but overall, I was able to share the experience that I got from the first time that I was there. So yeah, that's your experience on similar landscape photographing in similar elements, weather and all that. And so the next point that's really important to know would be your knowledge on law and permits. When you photograph at a local venue, your access to photograph there is provided by the contract signed by your clients and the venue owner. And so this is the reason why a lot of us photographers who usually photograph at venues and not elopements like at national park or at newer places, we don't really have to worry about a whole lot about what other laws and permit thing. Venues usually communicate directly to you. If they have liability insurance that they require, they communicate directly with you, and it's so much easier when you just send everything they require. But when it comes to photographing at a destination location, where the couple might or might not have a venue, we also need to pay attention to whether we are allowed to legally work at such locations. So we need to look at work visa, permit, and all that. I saw some of the I'm so sorry, I didn't get to read all the questions just yet because I want to go through everything. But I did see someone say something about Canada work visas and all that in the chat. So I just want to address it here as well. That's the one common question that I see all the time in different Facebook groups or whenever I post photos from Banff. One thing that I hear is, I heard that US photographers cannot work in Canada. Is that true? I do want to share again that, hey, I am not a lawyer, and so I'm not going to provide legal advice on such questions and how visa works. However, the advice that I can share is that whenever you are interested in working in a country that isn't your country of citizenship, it is always best to directly reach out to the consulate by email in order to get a written response. And that's really, really important. And the questions that you ask also matter. What you describe in this email also matters a lot. If you like to hey, I'm photographing an elopement in blah, 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 they might not understand what elopement even means. So you want to really be as detailed as possible. Here are some of the bullet points of what I would send each consulate whenever I'm interested in traveling to their country to work. Really, first and foremost, I would say about who you are, describe who you are, your citizenship, like where you're from. 2, describe your clients and their citizenship. Then last but not least, share the details of the wedding trip, such as how many days you're going to be there, when are you going to arrive, and when are you going to leave. And this is about work visa that I would personally do for every country that I go to. Once again, what the answer to who you are, your country of citizenship, your couple and their country of citizenship, and then the length of time, that will determine whether or not you need to have a work visa or you don't need to have a work visa. And you might be surprised about the answer that you get from the consulate, because the thing about emailing consulate sounds so scary. And it does take a little bit of time. And what I mean by that is, ever since COVID, post-COVID, many consulate closed down their immigration and their whole, basically everything for a while. So now they're doing this thing where they're catching up with processing immigrating paperwork, and they're putting more resources and energy into that. So for you to ask the question, that email is low on their priority list. It took me a while. I am not gonna lie. It took me a while. Also, multiple check-in, just reminders about, hey, I'm just checking in my previous email in order to get the answer. But once you get that answer, save that email somewhere with you. That way you know which country you're allowed to go and whether or not you're allowed to photograph a couple there. Personally, at this time, just to answer the Canada thing, from my own research and my own communication with the Canadian consulate, I am allowed to photograph in Canada with an American couple, and that's just my story. So for you, I really, really recommend you doing that for yourself, just so that you have that written response with you at all time. And so now that's work visa. Now let's move on to permit. Visa and permits are two different things. Work visa, if you're going to a new country that's allowing you to be there and work legally. Permit now is talking about the land and the space that you're working at. One quick thing that I found from my personal research, that permits are more common in America, like North America, like Canada and the United States. So for you guys who live in New Zealand and Europe and South America, Africa, that thinking about going to America or Canada, you pay attention to permit, because every land here is also often managed by different jurisdiction. We have national parks, we have national forest, we have BLM land, which is borough land management, we have state park. So you can see how things can get really complicated there. And so chances are those places usually require a permit, and they change their rules and laws every single year. I run a spreadsheet on my end with my team. I have a spreadsheet beginning of each year. If I know I'm going to photograph at Mount Rainier National Park or Banff National Park or Big Sur, California, I would reach out to first of all, I would view if there's official website, like for example, Mount Rainier National Park has their own website. Oftentimes on the website would describe to you whether your work need a permit or not. If it's really clear, I would go ahead and follow that instruction. That's it. Sometimes the information on these websites are not super clear. That's when I would reach out to them by email in order to see, do I need a permit if I'm photographing two people out in the mountain, no guest? Do I need a permit, or do they need a permit? Who's applying for a permit? The reason why I share that, don't just send an email right away, because of these national park, state park, national forest, the resources are a little bit limited. They have less staff members. So if we bombard them with just email back to back, it can overwhelm the system. And when you overwhelm the system, what typically happen is they're just going to say everybody needs a permit and everybody have to do this and that. And so there are different things change all the time, right? And we have each other. That's the beautiful thing about wedding photography industry, is that we have a community that can share information. I would 100% strongly suggest you join different Facebook groups that can be beneficial for you working at different places. For example, you know, my group, I have a group called HD Presets on Facebook. Even though the group is named HD Presets, that's where I hang out. That's where if people ask questions about anything, and if I know the answer, I would share the answer in my group. There's another really cool group called the Public Land Creatives, and that's where people ask questions about permit in Moab, in Joshua Tree, in different places all the time, and people always update information there. So that's a beautiful, nice group to hang out. There's one more I wanna. Oh yes, there's one called Hawaii Wedding Film Permit, and this is related to all the Hawaiian islands. If you have never photographed in Hawaii before, it is one of the most strict places I have ever experienced. They have so many rules and regulations and different jurisdictions that just manage different things. And so it can be confusing. I am not a superhuman. I don't have all the answer. I do research when I can, but I also join these groups. But here's the thing that I want to share with everybody when you join these groups. Use it as inspiration and use it as a way to just get to know other people and get to know the process of how things can be. Although 90% of the time I get really good resourceful information, I don't take everything like that's the facts. That's, once again, we're on the internet. Photographers are not out there trying to get you and give you false information. Chances are they might have gotten false information from somewhere else, and now they just like spreading that information like it's fact. So really verify your sources. The name of the groups, I will, at the end, when Kyle is taking questions, I'll go ahead and find these names on my browser, and then I'll put in the chat so everybody has it again. I'm sorry, I just sort of like drop it out there. Yeah, and so once again, that's why permit is differently from work visa, and usually is most common in the Northern America area. But for example, I photograph in Costa Rica, in Europe. I have reached out, I have tried everything I can, and so far there's not a whole lot of permit. What you need to really pay attention to is sometimes a beautiful place can be a private property that we didn't think about. Like, oh, that waterfall is crazy beautiful. Wait, someone owned that? So when it's a private property, then you would reach out to get tickets to get in, stuff like that. But not as common from to other places in the world. Now, we've been talking about your knowledge on laws and permits and why someone would book you because you have that knowledge. The next thing would be your knowledge and your experience with travel. And so that's a great way to building trust with your clients, to show clients that you know how to travel. When it comes to branding and marketing, you get what you put out. It's people call it manifesting. I call it manifesting. You have to really manifest it, right? Like if you're, for example, if you want to really start traveling for work, you need to start traveling. And it can sound expensive when you travel. There are so many ways that you can travel with a really, with a budget and still really get that knowledge and that experience to show people I know how to travel. And so travel isn't just about booking an airplane tickets and arriving or booking a hotel room on Google.com, right? It's also understanding the logistics around traveling with gears, how to keep them safe. And this gears is not about your gears only, but about your client's gears as well, like their wedding attires, their vow books, their rings, stuff like that. For my very first elopement in Europe, I was quite nervous, mostly because I had never been there before, and also I don't speak the language. You just get that little, like a little bit of you, like a majority of you is excited, and then that little bit's like, oh my gosh, like, can I do this? Like I get that feeling all the time. So after learning that I can legally photograph in Italy, I spent months leading to that elopement in Positano, just honestly learning about culture and safety tips of what happened when you get there. I learned about pickpocketing issues, and that scared me so much. Like, I learned about how flight delays and cancellations are very common in Europe, even more common than in America. I also learned about the importance of having insurance, international driver license, how to get gas at some gas station, because some of them don't take credit cards like how they do in the United States or in Canada. And just like anything from the internet, things in reality might not be exactly the same. So from all the experience and knowledge I've learned about travel, I then use that during consultation, during the phone calls, the initial phone calls that I talk with couple, to really give clients the value that, hey, I know what it takes. I know how to take care of myself, which means I know how to take care of you and your photos and how to keep everything safe. So just want to share a quick personal thing of what I currently do when I travel. So when someone booked me for a destination that is within about 3 to 6 hours flight of where I live. That could mean I live in Washington State, so that could mean California, that could mean Banff, Canada, that could mean Hawaii or Alaska. Then I usually arrive about one day. Like I try to get in about midday on the first day. And just stay one day before. But if it's like a longer flight, if it's like, for example, if I go to Europe for work, then I would arrive a minimum of 2 days before the actual wedding or elopement day. This 2 days is so that I have enough buffer time just in case there's delays and cancellations, which happened before. Last year when I was in between, I photographed one in Italy and I needed to fly straight to Iceland. I got delayed for 24 hours. I sat in Frankfurt, Germany airport for 24 hours. And I was really happy that I saved 2 days, because then I arrived and I still had enough time to sleep and have a full night rest before the elopement. But just know that it's Europeans and Asian, not smaller airlines in Asia would deal with more delays and cancellation. Like in Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines would happen more than if you go to like more major places like Japan or Korea. There's less chances of delays there. So that's about arriving. When booking for a place to stay, I always try to stay as close to the couple as possible. So if I can, I book at the same hotel. If they stay at a hotel, I book at the same hotel. If they're at an Airbnb, I'll find Airbnb that's just as close as possible. For example, if you photograph at like an all-inclusive resort in Mexico, like Cancun, or Los Cabos, those resort, because they are all-inclusive, the minute you enter, you get to eat and to stay and to drink and to do whatever. So if you don't stay at that same hotel as the couple and now you show up, they might not let you in. B, they might let you in, but they charge like an extra fee just so that you can get a bracelet and you can walk around their property, because to them, you might stop by and get food. They don't know that. So there's just more hoops for you to jump through. So that's why I always try to stay as close as possible. When you're in a foreign country as well, things can change. Things can change quickly, and be close to a couple, you can maneuver and pivot quicker than normal. And so the next thing is for travel, I personally want to book everything myself. I've heard this before where some photographers come and ask and said, hey, my couples really want to book me for their wedding in whatever the location is, and they want to book everything for me because they have points or they have whatever. And me personally, I don't like that, because like I shared with you earlier about how flight cancellation delays, things can happen so fast that I often want to book my flight, my car, my hotel, everything by myself. Then it attached to my own credit card, my email. If for example, a flight delay, the way that you know it is by these airlines send you an email directly to your inbox. And if the couple book it, they send it to the couple, and then a couple forward it to you. There's just so many things that by the time you learn about that, it might be too late. And so that's the reason why I want to be taking care of all of that by myself. When you're out and about, be really vigilant about your surroundings. I cannot hide this. I cannot stress the importance of this enough. I have photographer friends who lost their passport in Paris before because someone literally took it from their purse. Hide important things like passport, cameras, memory cards. If your backpack has a secret pocket in the back, really be vigilant about that stuff. Now, this is important. The last thing that I want to share about travel is when you stay in an Airbnb, remember not every Airbnb is safe and secured. And the biggest thing is you don't want to lose photos, especially for someone who booked you all the way out this way and you spend so much time and resource and energy to be there. My personal favorite tip is do not share this to the bad people, is when I go out and I leave all of my stuff back at my Airbnb, I will hide my memory cards and my hard drives at different places within the condo, the Airbnb, the cabin, wherever you stay, in the most unconventional location that people don't usually think about. So if you hide things in your bedroom, someone's gonna go into your bedroom, and if they do break in, they might be able to find it easily. You can hide it in between like bowls, like in the kitchen. You have two bowls and you can hide one in. Just remember to maybe take a photo when you hide things so you remember to take them back but when you check out. But I would not trust just to leave your hard drive next to your nightstand. Some Airbnbs in different places are known that is an Airbnb, so bad people around locally know that the owners don't stay there, and then there's random people coming in and out. So really just pay attention to that. So remember, sales is about solving someone's need, and although experience with travel isn't usually the first thing in the client's mind when they first book you as a photographer, but it is something that once you share about those knowledge and experience, they cannot unsee it. They understand why it takes so much for a photographer to be somewhere and to do something. And this can be a determinant factor between you and other photographers that they're speaking to, because and that you can share with them, give them the value that I want to be my best to take care of your photos, and really not only take beautiful photos, but keep them safe so that you have it by the time we all come back home. And so the last point that I want to share in terms of why someone would book you is about the connection, the relationship that you build with your clients. Weddings, especially, even if you don't consider what you do luxury, wedding is a luxury buy. It's not one of those rational purchase, right? And when it comes to destination wedding, it is considered a luxury purchase for sure. And so what I mean by this is a rational purchase would mean you want to get the best bang for your bucks. Like, for example, why would someone want to spend $10 for an organic avocado when you can get the same organic avocado for $2 at another store, right? So then when it comes to wedding photography, whether you consider your service luxury one or not, it is luxury. And one quick way of viewing this is someone can totally get a friend to capture everything on an iPhone, and people still do, and it's okay, right? But most people want to spend money on a good photographer because they want to make sure they love the photos. And so when they make that decision to purchase or to book a photographer, it is no longer rational, but it's an emotional buy. It is the trust, the feeling, the emotion that they trust that you can do it, that you have what it takes. And so after sharing everything that you share about your knowledge, your quality of photos, and everything else that I listed above, then the very last step is sharing a little bit about yourself can really help strengthen this trust. You don't have to be an extrovert or write everything about your personal life and share online, and it's okay. And in fact, I think for myself, I think of myself as a very introverted person. But relationship is it's a two-way street. You can't build a relationship and build trust if we keep on asking questions from the clients, but never share with them about who we are. And so that's what I want to share a bit about how for my website, my Instagram, for the way that clients communicate with me, I want to share with them some personal touches, something about my personal life that influence the way that I photograph, the way that I capture things. One example is, in the beginning, I did share with you guys, everybody here, about my background as a cardiac ICU nurse. I do think that every point in your life, whatever experience you have, good or bad, it sort of shape who you are. And so don't disregard your previous versions of yourself, because then it does help you see the world in a different way than the photographer next door. And so I do bring that when I communicate with my clients. Like, my work and my experience in the cardiac ICU really let me see how short life moments are, and it affect the way that I photograph and affect the way that I treat people. And so I do think that in a way, your connection, your relationship just open up just a tiny bit. Like, not, you don't have to open everything up, but just enough so client can see your why is really important. And so it makes it worth it for a couple that they like, I see this person, I value this person, I value this photographer. And so from everything that I share so far, basically a reason why someone would book you. Now that we know that, now that we know the important aspects of why someone want to book you for the destination wedding, let's actually talk about how they can find you. Like, how can you market yourself so that when people search, your name would show up. And so market yourself as a destination wedding photographer looks different depending on whether you are brand new to the destination work or if you've had destination galleries to showcase already. Either way, marketing is crucial because you can be the best photographers out there, but without proper marketing, clients won't be able to see your work and actually book you for it. And so this is how I would advise people on marketing is, first, you want to market to the people near you first. My very first international elopement was in Whistler, Canada, like I share. But the couple that booked me was actually Americans who lived 30 minutes away from where I lived. They found me on Instagram. I was posting local work. Remember, I did not have any destination gallery to show. I didn't say, hey, like, look at me in Whistler. I was posting photos of couple in different landscape in Pacific Northwest, and they found me. They found me for their engagement photos, and after delivering their final album, they reached back out again for their elopement in Whistler. That was my first time riding a helicopter as well, and I was really like, my heart was beating out of my ass. I was so scared. Oh my God, can I say that? Anyways, beat me out. So if you are new to destination work, you won't have a portfolio to showcase Italy or Norway or Iceland, other cool places that you can get to. You won't be able to have a gallery to show that, or even make a Facebook ads or Google ads or run ads, because you don't have the photos for it. So therefore, it is much easier to market yourself to the clients that live near you about who you are and what you can do. There are people in your town right now probably wants a destination wedding. While they might search for terms such as like Cancun wedding photographer, they might also search for wedding photographers near me, because they might want a destination wedding, they might want a local wedding. Remember, put yourself in the client's shoes, people have different factors about when, where, how they want to have their wedding. Could be guests, could be money, could be the vision. So they might be looking at multiple things at the same time. And so when you market to your local clients, but at the same time show yourself about the 5 things I shared earlier about why would someone book you for travel and such, then they can see your energy, your work, your passion, your knowledge in travel, and all of that. And so you can build trust easier that way. In fact, when I teach in-person workshop, I do surveys. I more like an informal survey. I interact with the photographers that would come to my workshop, and we just chit chat. And I would ask people tell me about your first destination work. And a lot of time for people, very first destination work, it is all about the local people who found them and bring them to somewhere, because it's quite impossible to say, hey, I'm going to start photographing Italy now when I've never been there before, to people in Europe to people in Asia who's interested in going to those places. This might be really hard. And so that's what I meant by market to people near you first. And then after you market to people near you, now you can market to people who are interested in location that you want to photograph. You can also market about those locations even if you haven't been there just yet. One easy way is speaking into existence. Manifest into your travel schedule on your website and your social media. If you go to my website, there's a page about me, or like my travel schedule, or on Insta stories, when I have the time, I usually put, hey, I'm excited to be at these places. And that's just to get more people understanding that I do travel, that I do destination work. So if you already schedule a trip somewhere for yourself, block extra days before and after and share those dates. People don't know what they don't know, right? And so this might mean this also is true for a destination. For example, when I share dates for my birthday to go, I wanted to, this was a big year for me. I save up to go to Paris for my birthday. And so I saved about 2 weeks or so, and then I share on my website, I'm going to be there around May. A couple ended up booking me for the Dolomites because they saw that I'm traveling somewhere in Europe and they wanted to get married at the same time. They didn't know about the Dolomites until I started talking with them on the phone. They sort of just want a beautiful destination somewhere around May timeframe. And so because I share my dates, a couple get to see it, that it is an option for me to go to those places. Now, what if you don't have any trips planned? Like, what if you're sitting at home today and you're like, no, Henry, what you share sounds like a lot of money. I don't have any trips saved right now. I just want to focus on my work. That's okay. That's okay. Even if you don't have any trip planned, you know that in your calendar, you might have a certain weeks or months that you're free from busy work. Maybe you can tentatively block it to go travel somewhere and then share those dates on your calendar. So what do I mean by this is that, for example, if you see that you are free the next 3 weeks in November and you really want to go to beautiful places, it could be Moab. You know that the weather is going to be good in Moab, in Arizona, in the southwest desert of United States, or in mountain places like Patagonia, New Zealand. November could be a good time frame to go as well. So you can tentatively share that you are going to some of these places in November and just use it as a wish list, basically. If someone ends up booking, great. If no one books and you change your mind, you're not going anymore, it's okay. You can remove those dates out of your travel list. There's no shame in that. It's not even, I'm not saying that you're lying that you're going. That's basically saying, I might go, I might have it, put it out there, but if I don't go, I don't go. Speaking of, if you go and people book, we'll get into pricing in a little bit here. Like I have some slides for that, but I just want to share that you really want to manifest about travel in order for people to understand that, oh, I didn't know that in November, the weather is not good in Washington. I didn't know that mountain places is in Colorado are not good in November. I didn't know that in November, I should go to these places that this photographer share. That could be a really eye-opening moment, and you give value to the clients potential clients that go into your website and see your work. And so now, if you have photographed some destination weddings or elopement before, utilize SEO and social media for this. Spread your eggs in different baskets. Instagram is great, but don't forget about Pinterest and TikTok. When it comes to social media too, we know that content don't last. You might post a video or photo today, and by next week, you might get zero traction or interaction with those posts. So use it, but it shouldn't be the only times that you share your work on social media. And when it comes to SEO, which is search engine optimization, which is, for those of you who are not familiar, is someone doing a Google search and your name would show up. Content lasts way longer, but you have to remember that the landscape of search engine changes quickly, and every day it changes. So different photographers will try to claim the first page of Google search. So for the purpose of this short presentation, I won't be able to dig deep into SEO. However, what I want to share is that you want to make sure that your favorite destination wedding photos are easy to find within your website. Whether it's a blog post or a gallery page that you've done, have it front and center. Have it so that when clients scroll down your website, they would be able to say, he or she photographed here before. What is this gallery? Like, why does it look so cool? You want them to be able to find it easily and click there easily so that they see that you have traveled forward. Because, for example, that last destination wedding you photographed could have been 3 years ago, and now the last 3 years, you've just been getting new blog posts about local work. But if you want to target the destination couples, make sure that you update the date or have it easily somewhere that people can find. All right, so fun part. How do you price for destination wedding? Pricing for destination weddings can look very different for each of us. We all have different costs of doing business, career goals, financial goals. Therefore, just as how your fellow local photographer price their packages different from yours, you might find pricing varies across the boards for everyone. And I cannot speak for everyone, so I just want to share how I structure my pricing at this point so that it is easy on my end as well as the couple's end. So what I do currently is all of my international destination packages would include what my local packages rate would be plus a flat travel fee. And so what's inside my flat travel fees would be round trip airfares, and average car rental for 2 days, average accommodation for 2 days, insurance, and gas. And remember, these are all about average, right? Like pricing can change up and down. But because when I do flat travel, I want it to be one number that couples think about. They don't have to think about anything else. So that's why I do these average and just calculate on my own. Because I live in Seattle, my average airfare to a different part of the country or to a different country might look very different from you. For example, if you live in New York, because for you from New York to go to Europe, it might be cheaper than for me to go to Europe because I have such a longer flight time, right? But so why flat travel fees is because flat travel fees is really reduce the frictions on booking. Every time that the client needs to stop and think about, is this going to be a good reason for me to book someone? Is this going to be a good reason? Is it going to be a good reason? There's more than likely that they're going to have to question a lot of things that they have to deal with. And so there's more frictions on saying, yes, we're going to book you. And so you don't want clients' mind to be stuck on how much exactly is it going to cost me? Because clients might have fears about the unknown and they don't want surprise charges at the end. So with a flat travel fees, I can assure clients that everything that they see in the brochure, it's like there's nothing else that they have to worry about. We all experienced inflation this past year and a half or so. Remember, everything that I'm traveling for this year, my client booked me the year before. And so when I charge them for travel fee, this is before inflation already. So now with that, with inflation, change in flight status, anything that might cause travel expenses to be higher, then you can take care of that yourself and clients don't have to worry about that. So now talking about what's included, I want to share also what other fees that you might want to charge for. I currently don't. Doesn't mean that you should not either. I'm just sharing the information so that you can be empowered and make the decision for yourself on how you want to run your business. These are some of the things other photographers charge for. Meals. Some photographers are charging for let's say they're there for 3 days, so they're charging for 3 days worth of meals because they spend money on food more than they're at home. Personally, I don't charge for it because I'm there, I'm home, I eat, so I don't charge for meals. Another thing is you want to think about opportunity cost. What opportunity cost means for example, when you travel for work, it takes longer for you to get there and get back. So instead of being at home, you can take on maybe 2 weddings this weekend. Now you're only looking at 1 wedding for that whole entire weekend, plus all that time at the airport. And so some photographer charge for that opportunity as well. So then other thought on pricing is we've all seen those TikToks and reels of photographer who share, I'll shoot your wedding for free if you get married at these beautiful locations. And I personally, I would never go on those photographers' Instagram and comment on those posts. I don't see the need for me to go and say anything public. It almost feels like public shaming. However, with presenting on this topic, I do want to share my honest opinion on the shoot for free situation. Whether someone pays for your services or you're doing it for free is still someone's wedding day. There's still going to be expectations and obligations that you need to meet. So some people might say, hey, like I'll do this for free, but it will be my investment to the future weddings and elopements, like the destination world. Like if I shoot this for free in Iceland, then I can use the photos to advertise that I can shoot in Iceland. I don't think that it is quite 100% true that that's gonna be something that can happen. You don't have control when you do something, when you photograph a wedding. You don't have control over this wedding day. Like even if you're shooting for money or for free, especially for free, you don't have a say in anything. Just because someone get married at a beautiful location doesn't mean that it will yield in beautiful photos and beautiful story that you can share and you can advertise. If you want an investment for your future destination work, then my opinion would be, and this is only my opinion, which is work locally, save that money, make a personal trip somewhere using that money that you work locally, then you can actually have fun, then set up a style shoot. Then a style shoot is a controlled environment. In this style shoot environment, you know exactly how you want things to be and how you want to set up the photo shoot, how you want to story tell, so that you can use those storytelling photos to tell the next couple, hey, when you photograph in Iceland and you hire me, I can make your vision come to life by looking at these photos. So you get really control over what you can get photos out of and how you can use the photos to educate your future clients. And at the same time, when you say, I'm photograph your wedding for free, it really devalues your photography service overall, and that you're telling your local couple who you charge money for that the location matters. Then maybe this couple's location in Iceland matters more than your barn venue at home. Like you really unconsciously you're saying that, so it can yield some unsettling feelings here and there. And also you're just saying that the location also matters more than your skills and your art. So really you have to really value yourself and value your work. And until you do, people might not fully believe in you and your ability. When couples pay for your services, they value who you are as a person and as an artist, and you deserve that respect from your clients. Whew, that was a lot. So moving on from pricing, I just want to talk about other thoughts on sustainability and respect. So to focus on intentionality while traveling. When we travel, don't forget that our actions can impact the environment, the economy, and the local communities of wherever you're going to. Remember that we are guests in these countries, in these lands, in someone's homes. Therefore, I always try my best to follow the World Tourism Organization on sustainable travel. Here are some practices that I follow that I want to share with you, and hopefully you can think about these next time you travel somewhere. Is I try to do my business with eco-friendly companies as much as possible, and this could be airlines, car, public transportation, accommodations. Of course, we're talking about, the world we live in today. Some industry cannot avoid carbon emissions 100% with travel, like for example, airplane, right? But when you think about companies that try to do their part to offset their carbon footprint in some ways, I really value them a little bit more, and I try to do my business with them a little bit more. With traveling somewhere, I want to respect the culture of local communities. Just because a place is pretty and you've seen photos on the internet, it doesn't mean we can just take photos there. When in doubt, really ask. And who do you ask? I would ask local tour guides, local vendors I work with, Airbnb hosts, hotel concierge. Those are the great people that you can ask questions about. One quick example for you is I photograph in Hawaii. If you Google where to, let's say Oahu or Hawaii, which is a bigger island, if you look up beautiful places to hike, to take photos in Hawaii, the top 5 places on every list I've seen so far are all illegal for photos. Like Stairway to Heaven, as that's not a legal trail, even though photos are everywhere. You go on Instagram and TikTok, people are still taking photos there. It disrespects the native Hawaiian culture and the people that they don't want us there. For example, I photographed an elopement in Japan, and we went to this shrine, which is very similar to a temple. Really, when you're in a different culture and religion, you really don't know what they're okay with, not okay with. So I asked for permission beforehand. Is this something that I'm even allowed to be in and photograph a couple? If I photograph a couple, can kissing, photo of kissing, be okay? Just ask. If you really, when in doubt, ask. And then support local businesses. I know that being a destination wedding photographer, when the couple chooses me, I have taken that job away from a local photographer. However, when it comes to wedding photography, each couple really deserves to have a photographer and the kind of photography that speak to them. So I'm not trying to go in and just take the job from every single local photographer that I go to. I know that logistically, I will not be able to take photos of every single couple who's interested in getting married in Iceland or Italy or Scotland. Therefore, I hope that my photos can highlight the beauty of these locations and can really help create more demand for the location, and therefore the local photographers can take on more clients that way. In a way, I'm trying my best to just offset what I cannot control. But in the meantime, while I'm there, I try to support local business as much as possible. Shop small, eat at local restaurant. Last but not least, say no to single-use plastic. When we travel, we have to buy everything we need, and this can create more trash. Pack your own reusable water bottles, shopping bags, straws, like metal straws instead of plastic straws, things that you can really help the environment when you travel as well. And so, with that being said, that would lead me to the final thought to share with you all before I shut this down and take questions. Is being a destination photographer financially and career long sustainable? That's the question that I ask myself all the time, and I want to share with you some of the things that I've learned over the years. Is travel can be fun, and being able to be the photographer that photograph beautiful places in the world truly is a dream, is an honor and a privilege. However, I do want to be 100% transparent and honest about what it's like to really do destination work and be the destination photographer. Is that currently for my own business, I don't think that being a full-time destination photographer is a sustainable lifestyle because you spend more time on the road. You miss out on personal life at home, your family, your friends, because you're never home. When you think about inflation, flight delays, cancellation, and so many other uncontrollable factors can really make travel more expensive. There are unexpected costs that you might not expect when it comes to travel versus photographing locally. And with travel, you potentially have to block out more dates just to be there and spend more time on the road at the airport versus the time you can be at home and take on additional weddings that can increase your income in other ways. If it's your dream to become a destination wedding and elopement photographer, I hope this presentation has been really helpful for your growth. However, before having that dream, it is important to address your personal goals and your why first, as those factors that as those are the factors that will help your mindset and also help with your perseverance when things get tough and you get tired. And just as how the world evolves, so is your job, so is my job, and everything that I share with you. No one has all the answers, but together we can help make each other together we can really help each other more than you know. So keep in touch. Feel free to reach out for questions if you have any. My Instagram is at Henry's Diary. My Facebook group is HD Preset. And then with that, yeah, thank you so much for your time. And Kyle, whenever you're ready, you can come back and I can take questions from everybody.
Yeah, that was so amazing. I really love that you covered things like stress and safety and client education. I think all that is tremendous. And also speaking about valuing your work, whether it be free or shooting for just client experiences or expanding personal trips in order to make the work, but not say that the location is more important than the wedding or the client or your own work. I think you covered so many amazing topics there. I do have a couple of questions that came through our Instagram as well.
Yeah.
Some of these you definitely covered, but I figure it'd be an opportunity for you to reiterate or maybe clarify them. Let me pull these up here. So Brittany had asked, do you add a separate travel fee to packages or include it within package to inquired location when presenting to the client? So I think she's asking if someone inquires with you from, say, Paris or wherever they're wanting to get married, are you automatically putting that into your package before you send out client information?
Yeah, so I try to learn as much as possible during my inquiry intake. So on my website, I ask if clients have like a general location of what they're thinking. If they share right away that it could be anywhere international, then I send my international brochure. So in my international brochure, each of the packages has the cost of the flat travel fee already included in it. And then in the description of what's inside this package, then I would say, travel fees included. Like I don't want to say free of travel fee because that's not true. Like I charge for travel fee already, but I just say travel fee included, so you don't have to worry about anything else. Everything you see, it's it. So it solves the issues that the client have, which is how much money is this, how much do you have expect to spend totally on this person. So yeah, it's already included. I don't separate. I don't itemize each of them because I don't itemize like consultation time is how much or travel fee is how much, photo time is how much. I don't do any of that. It's just one number, everything included for this many hours.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I do the same. I have a flat rate because I don't need to nickel and dime my clients. They don't need to be worried about how much the flight costs or how much it's going to cost when I book it now or later, and I might be tailing trips together, you know.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce this. Someone on Instagram asked, though, how to rank when you can't target a specific location because of working worldwide. So obviously your brand is a international and worldwide brand and elopement photographer, but I would assume you're targeting individual spaces as well. How do you balance between your SEO marketing between saying worldwide or trying to target Paris or Barcelona or Indonesia?
Yeah, and this is I'm a nerd with SEO. Like I love SEO stuff. Um, So with SEO, the landscape of SEO is just changing in front of our eyes right now with the technology of AI that's coming out and the way that Google really favor local businesses. So if, like, let's say you live in Kansas right now and you want your website to rank high on Google, someone search something and your website show up on page one as well as that local pack, like on the maps, um, chances are Google will rank anything Kansas related for you because you live in Kansas. But if you have a page on your website to talk about elope in Italy, you might not appear on the maps pack because your local business is doesn't have the Italian address. It has your Kansas address. Um, but you can still rank for resource blog post. What I mean by that is those blog posts that really give information like good value. If you search something like how to elope in Washington State, you might see my website being like the one of the 5 or 6 results on page one. And that's what I meant by that as an example, that you give people the information and the knowledge. And so currently, because of that, I really focus my marketing SEO wise on local stuff that I can get to and get back within the same day, so I can sleep on my own bed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, on my own website, the minute people go onto my website, they see that, oh, he doesn't just do local work. They can see different blog posts, different photos from different part of the country, and that can really opens people's eyes on to like, like I can get married here. I don't have to get married at this one location I found him through. Yeah, I have people found me for Mount Rainier, and when they're reading my Mount Rainier blog post, they're like, "Oh, what is this?" They click on it, and they ended up booking me for Hawaii because they saw photos from Hawaii that I took.
Incredible. Are you using any blogging tools? Obviously, Narrative Publish is fantastic for things like this for
So
SEO, but are you using that or anything else in a suite of tools?
yeah, I do have I'm testing different things constantly. I do use Narrative Publish. Sometime I just test by going through just normal routes of whatever system you have. WordPress, Squarespace, show it.
That's amazing. There's a longer one that came in here, so let me read this one here for us as well. Um, Lottie asked, "Hi Henry, hi everyone. I'm so sorry if this was already asked. I missed this. Blah, blah, for some information here. Um, I'm in South Africa. Lots of people travel here from overseas to get married, but 99% of local photographers charge about 20% of what I charge, especially because they charge local currency and I charge dollars. What would your tactic be for situations like this? I've niched down to elopement successfully, but I'm, however, bumping into this problem more often than I'd like, no matter how I communicate my value. They'll say something like, 'Gosh, we want to book you. You stand out like crazy, but the difference is too big.' Especially when they hire a local videographer, the difference is big. I charge about $3,000 on average for a full day elopement."
Mm, yeah, pricing is honestly, I can teach a whole workshop on pricing alone. Like pricing itself is so fascinating and is so different from what people might think. But to answer that in like a shorter version that might be applicable for Lottie as well as everybody around here too, is remember, no matter where you are in your business, you will be too expensive for someone and you're not charging enough for someone else. And that is fact. I
Yeah.
started my this is fun story that I share whenever I can with people. I remember when I worked with this couple and I charged them in the United States in Seattle. Right now, if you're looking at the current market in Seattle, engagement photos could be anywhere between 600 to 1,000, which is average, right? When I first started, I charged like $200 because I didn't have the experience, or I wanted to
Yeah.
be able to charge for the value that I can give people. I charged this couple like about 200 or so. I don't know the exact number, but it was on the low end. We had such a fun day. A couple months later, I got a text message and they say, "Hey, Henry, like we just eloped. We got our photos from our elopement photographer. It wasn't me. Um, And we just want to say thank you for showing us that you like all these poses and other fun things. We use what you taught us for elopement photos, and we were thinking about you and just want to say thank you. I went to their, I was like, let me check out who photographed the elopement. And oh my goodness, there were some big names in the industry at that time. And this photographer charged like about $10,000 for an elopement day. And I'm looking at it like, I am getting paid $200 because I ask for $200. This other photographer worked with the same couple, the same cool, nice couple, and they get paid 10,000 because they asked for 10,000. So pricing, like what I share with you here, is you can see how it can be a topic on its own. From what my experience with pricing is, Lottie, you want on everybody, you want to do a check up. Just sit down and look through your last 2 years or so of your business. Who are the clients that booking you? Do you get booked regularly because of people from your local place, where you live, or the destination people who want to come to you and book you? So, for example, my international couple that I photographed in Italy, Norway, Iceland, they're all American couple want to go there. They're not Norwegian couple, Icelandic
Yeah.
couple, Italian couple. Then really, do you have the resources and the marketing effort to market to only that kind of couple? Because then you price for those couple. You don't price for where you live, you price for where you photograph, basically. Because if I could be honest with you, I've talked to so many European photographers. I teach workshops, and the common thing I hear is, in Europe, you cannot charge that much money. Like the most,
Mhm.
for example, like some photographers say 2,000 US dollars is a lot of money for a wedding photographer, where $2,000 in Seattle right now is really on the low end of a wedding photography. And so that same couple in Seattle, my travel, they in their mind, they have a higher price set than $2,000 already. And so I would look back into what you have so far. If majority of your clients are coming from not where they live, wherever else, and see what the pricing, average pricing of what people are charging for that, and I would make sure we meet the standard there. If you live in a place where most of your couples are really local, and here's an example for you. In Utah, in the state of Utah, majority of the kind of weddings there, the photographer would photograph like a pre-wedding thing and a day at the chapel, and then some reception. And I keep hearing this from my Utah friends, is that I photograph like three different events on different days, and I cannot go more than $3,000 or something like that. But then once in a while, you get like big names coming out of Utah. You get India Earl, right? Like she's from Utah and she charges like a lot for her wedding. So where you live can really determine a lot of like what's going on with your business. But then come back and then think about where your business is at and who you want to target. That can help with the pricing itself.
It's great advice. Every region is going to be so different, and obviously Utah
Yeah.
has a large religious component that changes the types of weddings that are happening there in that singular region.
Yeah.
Um, Mimi asked, do you market to wedding planners at all? I would presume this is going to be way more effective for full day weddings rather than elopements, but is that something that you try to build relationships with?
I always try to build relationship wherever I go. Like where you really don't. That's the thing too. Like when I get photos, I share photos with every person I work with. There's always, when on the wedding day, there could be lots of things going on, like stressed, and people get when people get stressed out, they might be like a little bit more rough on the edges. I try to just make sure that, remember, we are all on the same team. We get hired by the couple for this one day. Whatever the reason that one person does something that causes you just stressed out, we're like, why did he or she they say this? Remember, we all on the same team here. It's okay. We're all small
Yeah.
businesses, and so I try to be as you know helpful and share my photos and market myself, keep a relationship with planners. But the thing is, if you have never worked with this planner before and you just send an email like, hey, my name is, I would love to work with you sometime, it might be a harder way to build relationship, because when you think about it, these planners, they're busy, right? And they also have photographers they worked with before. If they have worked with someone, chances are they remember that person more than an email from someone they have never met. And so I try to use my time wisely. Like I don't market just like, hey, like I'm interested in working in Italy, like Tuscany, and here's my info. Usually I build relationship with the people I actually meet. Yeah, but
Yeah,
if
I think that's
yeah,
I think that's great advice.
yeah, if I look back at my booking rate though for my business, I don't get the most of my traffic is from Google search. So it's go Google search, Instagram, Pinterest, somewhere really low down here, and then referral from planners like low. Like it could be like two or three
Yeah.
weddings a year, but it's not something that would bring me consistent work.
I think that flows really great into another question that just came through from Xanth. Do you do all your marketing by yourself for Google Ads, Instagram, Facebook, or do you have a professional person, or are you managing everything under Henry?
Yeah, I from the very beginning I started everything myself. I learned mostly when my this is on the down low back when I work at the hospitals when patients are sleeping safe and sound, nothing's going on. That's when I learn. That's when I read and learn everything about like marketing and because I didn't have a background in marketing. Like I my background was in nursing, so I read about marketing, how to build trust, how to do SEO and all that. Currently with my I because my company expanded a bit, I have a photographer, so I have an assistant. I train my assistant how to do my Pinterest, so she took over my Pinterest and Google blog posts now. I do I don't run currently. I haven't run Google Ads or Facebook Ads. That doesn't mean that those are not effective tools. I do think that those ads can be really beneficial if you run them right. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's an entire another education space.
it's huge.
Yeah. Um, Sierra is asking, do you have a max number of international versus local elopements that you'll shoot each year?
Yeah, so usually, and I hope this answer really give everybody like an. Some people get really discouraged when they don't get the booking. Like, oh, there's photographers so much better than me who would book me. When you think about a typical photographer, uh, he, she, or they can only book what 40 elopement weddings a year, and how many couples are getting married a year? Like think about that number and give yourself grace that you have time to book more couples. Like it's like there's enough room for everybody on the top. For me personally, because when you think about it, about 40 is like max I can do. I try to do only about maximum 10 of them internationally. Then I can balance about travel for fun to get out of there, help my mindset, help me see the world in a different way, and then focus my energy at the wedding and stuff at home. And that's another reason why you see that I can easily make website for myself to advertise for going back to Italy. Like I know how to make a website or a blog post in order for me to rank first on Google, but I don't because I know that I cannot take more than 10. I cannot just keep going to
Yeah.
Italy and spend all of my time away from home. Rather, I want to spend my energy on really find a few couple that can take me, but when they take me, I want to make sure that that trust is really strong, that we can actually create work like beautiful photos together.
Yeah, and that gives you the time and the opportunity to have that bond with those clients. If you had
Yeah,
1,000 clients, it would be impossible for you alone to really keep and foster those relationships.
yeah.
I think we have time for one more. I think this is a really great one that came through. How do you manage planning adventure elopements and all related travel for so many clients each year? I would imagine that you're using some type of a client studio manager
Yeah,
or maybe Google spreadsheets or something, but what is your
both.
workflow and back end process to manage
Both.
everything?
Yeah. So I notice when it comes to like a CRM, like Honeybook, Dubsado, 17 Hats, those things, they are good with like emailing each person, invoicing. But there are other things that you that I usually do in order to make sure I understand, did I apply for a permit for this person? Do they need a permit? What about timeline? Have I created a timeline? So then I have a Google Drive, and in my Google Drive, it's separated by year. So 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25 ish, right? And each of the year would have each of the couple in it. And in each of the couple, it would include a spreadsheet of like my process, my progress of like what did I do? Did I get a review? Do I need to ask for review? Basically every step along the way. I wish I could show, but at the same time, I just thought about it. There's some name and sensitive information, so I'm like, maybe I'll. If I had known, I
Yeah,
would.
that's an entire another topic space
Yeah,
of just how to
yeah, but
manage
yeah,
things and keep things in line.
yeah. Just to manage, there's usually Google spreadsheet, Google Doc, and a CRM. And my CRM right now, I'm using HoneyBook.
Amazing. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for taking the time today. It was just an incredible piece of valuable information for a really often requested part of growing your business and trying to engage in the community in this way.
yeah.
Um, this will be recorded and be sent out to everyone. And thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. And then I don't know if I share already, but I have
Oh, yeah.
presets and GIF guide on my website. My website is henry-2.com. I'm just putting it there. So I have preset GIF guide. I set, because of today's event, I set a 20%. So you can use the code narrative20 and you get 20% off of anything from my store. And that's good until the very last day of June. So June, how many days do we have this month? 30th, 30, 30th. Yes.
Just, yeah, like another 10 days or so.
Yeah, so until the 30th. So view the shop, see what you like. If you have questions about any of the items on the shop or today's workshop, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to answer whatever I can.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Henry. Have a great rest
All
of
right,
your day, everybody.
thank you. All right, bye.